Good evening. Thought I'd say something. How are you? How you doing? Good.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yeah.
you. I can.
Okay, just making sure. All right. Let me just rename myself here. Area 7 means nothing here.
Yeah, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are
How's
you?
it going?
How you doing, everyone?
Good evening. Good evening.
Hey. Mhm. Yes, I am.
All right. So we're just going to allow for a few more minutes as people log in, and then we'll be able to get started.
Tyrone or Byron, do you guys have a presentation?
Yes, I do. And thank you for asking.
All right. All right. Can you just make sure on the bottom of your screen that you're able to see the share screen little icon?
Yes, I am.
Okay, okay, good. All right, thanks.
So how's everyone doing this evening? So we've just gone through an election day, huh?
Yeah, we certainly did. And by the way, did you hear about the fire on Lennox Road? If you heard about the fire.
I did hear about that. I did hear. Dante, do you have any details on that? Because I know you get the scoop on these things. Oh, you're on mute.
No, I don't, but let me see if I can get some details.
because I did hear choppers in the area, so I assumed police were looking for a suspect, but it actually turned out it was a fire.
Oh, okay.
I think it was on the same block as the office of Congresswoman Clark's, same block.
Is there office? That's where office is?
Yeah, it's
I
on
didn't
Lennox
realize.
Road now. Yeah. It's on Lennox
Oh,
Road
okay.
now. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, between Nostrand and Rogers, yeah.
Well, was the fire okay? Why am I thinking in my head that there was a fire on Empire in Kingston, or is that something different? There's another one.
When I was aware of, sorry about that, was on Lennox Road, but it could have been one on Kingston. I haven't heard of that.
Okay. Copy.
I think your
Mute,
sound just went
mute.
out for a bit.
Yeah, I apologize. I think I blinked out for a second there. This is what happens. You have kids who like video games a ton. You know.
Wait, what they playing Fortnite?
I have no idea. My son's got his crew and they're on NBA 2K all day long.
It's probably Fortnite. I have to come in on days like these and be like, the Wi-Fi is officially off limits from this time range.
I may have to adopt the policy. Yes, I'm happy to do that.
The only other way to bring some kind of balance is if they have a hotspot on their phone. If there's no hotspot, you're in trouble.
All right. Just to be respectful of everybody's time, so we'll allow for about another 2 minutes. So say 7:08, we're going to start, and we're going to begin with a brief round of introductions. Good partners at NHS Brooklyn, and you have some time set aside to let you know all the great things you do, and then we're just going to get into some committee business right after that. But as always, you are always welcome to hang around. You guys are fantastic. You're great partners. I sing your praises anywhere I go, and you're invited to every one of these meetings.
Thank you. Well, Tyrone is.
Yeah, normally I would stay, but I have like another like webinar afterwards.
No rest for the weary. Understood. Understood. Understood.
It's like webinars have become the official way of life.
Yep.
It really has. It really has. Just a quick housekeeping item. Dante, do you know, is there any of the committee members who declined for tonight that they weren't able to make it?
Repeat that.
Were there any members of the committee that you know are not going to be able to make it this evening?
Not that I'm aware, no.
Okay, all right.
Oh, Nicholas, we still have some folks coming in right now.
Oh, okay, perfect. I apologize. I know I said 7:08, but we're going to give them just a few more seconds. Hold on. How did Nicholas Amador get in here?
I don't know. I'm just following the Instagram post.
And here I thought Zoom bombing was done.
Yes,
I thought Zoom bombing was over with. Doing well, sir. Doing well.
All right. So because
All
I
right,
was
no-
wondering who's going to be chairing this meeting, and I saw your name on there. So I said, let me go and step in for a few minutes. Okay,
Right.
I'll be there basically watching,
No
observing.
worries, no worries.
Okay.
Okay, but glad to see you always.
Oh, it was
Hi,
always
Ms.
a
Bryant.
yeah.
Ms. Bryant, I see you too. How you doing?
Yeah, I know I'm going to give you a cool phone call about something else later, but we'll talk tomorrow.
Absolutely. Okay, Dante, is everyone in from the waiting room?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we are going to call this meeting to order. I'm going to take notes. So the time is now 7:09 p.m. I want to welcome everyone to the Housing Committee meeting, first Housing Committee meeting for this year. Just by way of brief introduction, for those who I may not have had the opportunity to meet before, my name is Fred Baptiste. I currently serve as the chair of CB9. Typically, this portion of the meeting would be done by the housing chair. However, we're still going through the process of actually naming a chair, a permanent chair for the committee. So in the interim, I'm going to be chairing this meeting. But otherwise, I'm just really excited for, that, we're able to convene today. For a lot of members, I see a lot of familiar faces, some new faces, or some new names at least. Looking forward to meeting you, working with you. Hopefully, you'll find it where this is something that's very interesting in terms of participation in the Housing Committee if you are not already a member. Very, very quickly, I just wanted to do a quick round robin in terms of introductions, just so we can see who's here present today. And just to pick on somebody, we'll start with our district manager.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dante Arnwine. I serve as the district manager for CB9. I'll pick on Byron.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. My name is Byron Todman. I'm a program manager with Neighborhood Housing Service of Brooklyn. Make it easy on me, Tyrone.
Yes, how you doing? Good evening, everyone. So it was a pleasure to be in front of CB9. My name is Tyrone McDonald, and I'm Government and Community Relations Manager of Neighborhood Housing Services of Brooklyn. And let me pass the baton. I'm going to pass the baton to Julia Bryant.
Hi, it's Julia Bryant.
Oh, Julia, I'm sorry.
It's all right. I just came out of a Spanish class. I don't know, you wouldn't have known that. But I'm a regular at CB9 and I'm observing for today.
And you get to pick the next person.
I have to pass the next person, Diane.
All right, good evening to everyone. Good evening. I am Diane Wheelis, and let me show my face so you can kind of get to see who I am and see the name or the face behind the name. So I am Diane Wheelis Shepherd, and I wouldn't say I'm newly on the committee because I had a time where I was with the committee some time ago, but then other things had got in the way of me being able to continue on with the committee. But today it's a little bit different. So I am looking forward to, once again, being on this committee and adding whatever it is I can add to the committee and helping in any way that I can. So I am a community resident and I have been in Crown Heights for over 30 years. So once again, I am Diane Wheelis, Community Board 9 resident, and glad to be here on Zoom meeting each and every one of you and attending this meeting. Thank you.
And thank you. All right, so you have the power.
All right, so I get the call on someone, huh? Okay, so how about Cheryl Wright?
Hello, everyone. I'm Cheryl Wright, and I am a new member to CB9 and looking forward to meeting everyone in person. Oh, and also working with this committee for housing is one of the most important subjects for me to be involved. And I used to also be the secretary for NHS Bed-Stuy.
We have a deep bench with us today. That's great. All right, so you have the baton. So who would you like to pass it to?
Lynn Sue Robinson.
Hi, thank you, Cheryl. My name is Lindsay Robinson. I am new to CB9. I'm just kind of sitting in to kind of see what committee I want to be a part of. I'm actually an aspiring urban planner. So I kind of want to get my feet wet in the field. My passion is the built environment, and my specialty would be housing. And so I want to learn as much as I can, but I also want to be able to assist you guys however you need me to assist. I'm here to support, be thought partners, and just looking forward to just meeting everyone. Thank you. And I guess I have the baton, so I'm not sure who has gone. I think JG, I'm not sure.
Hi, I'm Janice Granum. This is Clearly Past the Mic. I'm a longtime community member, and I'm here as a community person who wants to know what's going on in the community. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. I pass the mic to, I think, Nicholas Almonor.
Well, actually, anyone but him.
Good
Oh,
evening,
really?
everyone. I'm Nicholas Almonor. I'm a member of the Community Board 9, also chair of the Park Recreation and Culture Committee, and also a member at large. So I live in Prospect Lefferts Garden.
Okay, and you get to choose someone.
Let me see who I choose. Let me get my one already. Leslie Farrar.
Yes, Leslie, are you there?
Leslie Farrar, yeah. Seeing none, maybe you will call on one of the numbers.
Yeah, Leslie, are you there? I'm not sure. Okay, I'll tell you, Leslie, we'll come back. I'm not sure if you're having audio difficulties, but we'll come right back to you then.
Well, I'll choose Alicia then.
Hey, Ms. Boyd. We're doing brief introductions, so they just call, so we're just going around, they're calling on people. So you just want to introduce yourself to everyone here.
Oh, and we could see people at this meeting. Oh, I'm so happy that Dante and Fred have decided that the public is important enough to be seen. Well, thank you. I'm just amazed. You can actually see me, and I can actually see other people here at the meeting. Open meetings law. Oh, wow. This seems like an open meeting. Okay, my name's Alicia Boyd.
Are you gonna
straight and simple
pass the baton?
Who is the next one?
Pick somebody else. Alicia, you have to pick somebody else to say hi.
Diane?
Diane has gone already.
Yeah, I already went. Thank you anyway.
JG?
Went already.
Oh, that's Ms. Granum. She went already. That's Ms. Granum.
Leslie.
Leslie, are you there? I'm not sure. I think Leslie might be having audio issues.
Linzu.
Lin Sue went already as well.
When?
Okay, that's me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Hi, I'm Wendy Thompson, and I'm a real estate broker. I live in the Ward 9 district. I served on the community, committee last year, and I'm happy to serve again. I've lived in this area in the Ward 9 district for about 30 plus years, so I'm back and I'm happy to be back. Thank you. And so now I will choose, let's see, who's missing? There's a phone number, 347. No, there's no, yeah, there is actually. 347-907-5555. You're up next, please.
Okay. Now, if you're on the phone, to unmute yourself, just hit *6. That'll unmute you. Okay, number ending in 50.
Do you hear me now?
Yes.
We can hear you perfectly.
You hear me?
Yep.
Hey, sorry, it's David Nussbaum, Department of Buildings, just checking in. Sorry, couldn't get onto the video one, wouldn't work for me.
No worries, no worries. Thank you so much for joining us today, too.
No.
All right. Okay, so as you're on the phone, we are going to choose for you, and I think actually there's only one left. Okay, so we have another phone number ending in 1860. Are you there?
That's me, Leslie Farrar.
Ah,
Oh,
Can you hear
okay.
Yeah,
We can hear you.
I was having trouble because my laptop doesn't seem to like Zoom very much. But I'm Leslie Farrar. I'm a 15-year resident of Prospect Lefferts Gardens, so I'm probably your neighbor, Nicholas,
Okay.
and perhaps yours also, Alicia. And I'm very interested in the housing committee, and I think it's done a lot of great things. And I'm also a little familiar with the work of NHS, and I just want to say that it's wonderful.
Agreed. Okay. All right. I think everyone had an opportunity to introduce themselves briefly. Again, I just want to start off by thanking everyone for joining us this evening. So this is our inaugural meeting for the year for the Housing Committee. But one of the things that we try to do as well for the committees is we definitely want to make sure that we are, we get to be partners in the various respective areas as well. So we are very, very pleased to have with us this evening NHS Brooklyn. Definitely no strangers to the district. We have with us Mr. Tyrone McDonald and Mr. Byron Todman, who are going to give a presentation about the organization to just hopefully, tell us a few things about it, what they do, some of the services they provide, and and perhaps we can even start a conversation in terms of how we can work together even more closely going forward. Tyrone, Byron, the floor is yours.
Sure. Before I introduce my my colleague, Mr. Byron Todman, I just want to thank you, everyone again. And also it's good to know we have like a lot of partners on the line who I was surprised I didn't expect was actually going to be here. And thank you for the compliment. Neighborhood Housing Services, we were founded in 1982. As far as the bank on Brooklyn, at a time when there was a lot of redlining of Black and also Latino communities. And actually we became a lender to homeowners so communities won't fall in disrepair and blight. And our mission is to provide financial resources, and we do this by focusing on homeownership promotion and also housing preservation. All right. So we work with tenants, homeowners, first-time home buyers, in our mission, to try to, sustain and also preserve community. And without further ado, I'm going to turn over the microphone to Mr. Byron Todman, who is Program Director of our Property Management Program, who's going to talk about that program in addition to some of the housing preservation work that we are embarking on. Byron, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen and go through my presentation. This is a short version of our presentation. I don't want to run over my allotted time. And since so many people are familiar with NHS, I just wanted to touch on some of our service and introduce our latest program. So NHS has started a property management program for owners of 1 to 4 unit properties. We recognize that this was an underserved area in our community, and because we do a lot of home ownership preservation, we realized that a lot of owners needed our service. For those of you familiar with NHS, we are big on home ownership, and we know we do a lot of work around getting people into homes. We view this property management program as a method to help preserve home ownership. So I'm gonna skip a couple of my slides because for one, my next slide is a background slide and Tyrone already touched upon it. So a quick overview of some of the services we offer to homeowners. We offer homeownership education around property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. Insurance got very popular over the past couple of months due to Hurricane Ida. So we give a couple webinars on filing a claim, helping residents, directing them to services, and property taxes. We do home repair loans and grants. That's one of my hats. Is I administer our home repair grant program. We are actually winding down a program now. So if you know of anyone, you may want to refer them now so they can get on our mailing list, because we have a couple applications that are in that we're hoping that we're going to get responses soon and to launch immediately. And again, due to Hurricane Ida, we expect huge amounts of applications for our next grant. That being said, if you refer someone to us, please tell them to follow the instructions. We tend to do applications on first come, first serve. First come for us, it means first completed package. Okay, so the more the application goes back and forth, the farther the applicant sinks in the process. We do mortgage counseling. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, a lot of our neighbors have fallen on hard time and are facing foreclosure. We have 2 foreclosure counselors on staff who is able to help residents file for forbearance. And we have tenant services staff that'll help homeowners file for the emergency rental assistance program. Landlord training, and of course, property management. For tenants, we have tenant counseling, renters insurance education, homebuyers education, and landlord training. For everyone, we offer financial counseling, workshops, and one-on-one counseling. Emergency and disaster preparedness, another popular workshop again due to the pandemic. And estate planning, something that a lot of people don't do, but needs to start thinking about. So as I mentioned, NHS has rolled out a new program. You know, some people is like, well, why roll it out now? Why? Because as I said, I administered our grant program, and the amount of applicants that we saw and damages to their property that we saw that was just neglect was astounding. So it's about educating our residents about homeownership. One thing that we're stressing is we are not looking for people to become lifelong clients of ours. If you come into the program, you'll have access to the full range of services that NHS offers to help you build your skills to make you a better property. What our goal is to do is to bring professional property management services to small property owners. We are covering the entire Brooklyn as our service area, but our main target is central and southern Brooklyn, basically places that we have a presence. Who's eligible again? Owners of 1 to 4 unit buildings, and we'll take mixed use properties where there's a ground floor commercial component, but no more than 4 residential units above. So technically 5 units. Anything over 5 with 6 brings you into red stabilized, and it's a completely different animal. And so as a property manager, these are some of the services that we'll be offering to program participants. Same payment collection, mortgage payments, equipment, supplies, personnel, tenant identification, and 2 steps. We do have a tenant services person in-house, so we have a decent pipeline of individuals looking for housing. Repairs and maintenance. Basically, if you're familiar with NHS, you know, one of the things we do is home repair. So we are bringing those professionals to this program. And the thing that we remind people of is that things that we're doing is the things we encourage you to do as a homeowner. All major repairs that your property may need, we're going to be doing the thing we encourage you to do. Get at least 3 bids. Have the work done by licensed and insured professionals. Compare for pricing to make sure you're getting apples for apples. Right? And love leasing, of course. We have a pipeline of contractors, attorney, insurance companies, realtors, banks, and home inspectors. As we built out our program, we were recruiting these professionals to participate. Anybody comes into our program, we do our first step is a property inspection and a financial analysis. Basically, help us gauge the health of the property, come up with a maintenance strategy, short and long term. So that's the property analysis. So now is the income analysis to see where the property is it above water, is it underwater, and then sort of build the strategy for the property there. Develop a long-term plan. We start collecting data because you're looking at 1 month data points, or over a year, you have these same data points, and then you're able to start looking at trends and plan for the upcoming. One of the things we're happy to announce is State Senator Kevin Parker is sponsoring seniors in his district and his constituents 62 years or older for 1 year for free property management services. We're kind of getting the jump on him. His office will be sending out a press release shortly, but we beat him to the punch in this little group now. So if you know anyone who's within his district, you may want to tell them to reach out to him just to see what their strategy is going to be through reaching out to clients. Other thing I want to bring your attention to is the city of New York has recently announced an increase in its Home First Grant program. Previously, the city would provide up to $40,000 in down payment and closing cost assistance for first-time buyers. They have recently raised the amount to $100,000, and that's for buyers who are at or below 80% of area median income. There's also purchasing requirements, maximums for the home 1 to 4 family. But one crucial component is that the buyer must complete homebuyer education. Most home buyers who are properly educated are better prepared for the long term. People think, oh, they're giving $100,000. I don't have to put in any money. Yes, you do have to have some skin in the game. So looking at 3% more, basically once the applicants have been counseled, the income verified, the purchase verified, NHS of Brooklyn would submit the application for the assistance. It's a forgivable grant if the buyer stays in the property for 10 years for grants of $40,000 and below. It goes out to 15 years if the recipient receives more than $40,000. Any questions? Okay.
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I'm a little confused. At one point, you said the senator has, can you go back to the senator?
Sure.
At one point, you're saying that there's a 1-year scholarship to participate in the program. So is this program available to everyone, or is just available to people who are 62
No,
the older and Kevin Parker's district?
No, the program is available to everyone. However, Senator Parker is offering scholarships for people in his district.
I'm a little confused about that. If you could just clarify that, because if it's open to everyone, how could he be then offering it underneath a scholarship?
He's offering scholarships to roughly five seniors in his district. Well, let me step back one more. Dig into this slide a little more. The service has a cost. We'll be charging 8% of the property rents as the property management fee. Everybody who's in the program would have to pay the fee. However,
that's the okay. Now
that's the catch. That's the hook.
Okay, so it's not free. You're paying. The homeowner is paying for the service.
It's free. It's free if you're in Senator Parker's district and you're a senior, 65 or over, and again, he's
only
the number is 5.
Mr. Todman,
yes.
Mr. Todman, just to make sure, I think we're clear, just what we're talking about. So now the scholarship program is for the property management piece, correct?
It's for the property management, yes.
Okay, and then separately, that other program for the first-time home buyers, that's the other one with the 100,000 and
right. That's just general information.
Okay, two separate. Okay,
general
two separate parts. Okay.
I'm talking about the property management. I understand about the first-time home buyers program, and I, because my niece went through that, and it was a really good program, and she was able to get a house through you guys. So I'm very familiar with that. I'm glad that they have increased the amount because the way prices are in New York City, but really what you're telling us is you're giving us a program that we have to pay 8% for. Correct. We have to pay for it. It's a paid program. It's not.
We're offering a program. So technically you're right, we're not giving. So if for 5 lucky seniors in Senator Parker's district, they'll be able to get it free for you.
And what about our district? Is Senator Zellnor investing any of?
Well, that's why we're doing this, see?
Right, and I think it'll also be encouragement for people.
Encourage you to call your senator and ask him to offer something similar.
Well, Fred, would you like to sit there and get this committee to propose the idea of asking Zellnor to make a contribution and allow 5 lucky residents in his district to be able to get this grant?
Well, that's why we're having this meeting. That's why NHS Brooklyn is presenting. And that's one of the things that the committee will discuss in terms of what the priorities are for the year. Okay. So I'm interested, but the committee will decide and we'll see how we push.
Okay.
And also want to add is that, yes, there is a fee for that program, but there are other programs at NHS charges, which is a mixed. Some things we do charge a fee, some things are free. For example, like the foreclosure counseling, that's a free, that's offered free of charge. Tenant support services, that's offered free of charge. The insurance, the homeowner's insurance, renter's insurance counseling, that's free of charge. When it comes to home ownership, it's a mix because the webinars are free of charge. But let's say when we offer classes, which is actually, you do get a certificate and we are HUD approved and the certificate lasts for a year, we do charge a fee for that. So it's like a mixture of fees and free services. So I just want to let that know.
Okay. And are you providing services? I mean, there's this whole thing about landlords now being able to get, money for COVID-19 tenants who did not pay. Are you providing services for that? Do you charge for that?
No, that is free of charge. As a matter of fact, you getting ahead of me. So let me just share my screen. All right. Because
that nice. I'm getting ahead of him.
Ahead of us, yes. Stealing the thunder.
Well, hold on. Wait. You have to let me wind up first, Tyrone.
I'm sorry. I apologize, Byron. Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
So, so in closing, basically just want to show some of our upcoming webinars. So you can also see a list of upcoming events at our website, nhsbrooklyn.org. And if anyone has questions about the property management program, you can contact us at property management dpt@nhsbrooklyn.org, or you can speak to my colleague, Ms. Isana Saxon, at 718-732-8001. Our offices are closed to the public, but we are doing webinars and telephone calls. So with that, I will end my screen share.
All right. Well, before I let you go, before we let you off the hook, are there any other questions for Mr. Todman while we've got him?
Yeah, I have a question for Byron, and thank you, Byron, for the presentation. A quick question. So regarding the property management, are you guys taking care of that internally, or are you outsourcing?
It depends. All the financial management is handled internally. The stuff that I outsourced is like the garbage pickup. Of course, in case of the legal issues, that's outsourced. That's outside our wheelhouse. So.
Okay, thank you.
It's outsourced.
Okay, we can take one more question from Mr. Todman, if anybody has. Okay, seeing none, thank you so much. Actually, I was going to say, if it's possible, there were a couple of those slides between those event dates. I think there was another slide where it's like it kind of outlined all the services that you provide. If we can get those as PDFs, we can publicize those on our website. You know, we can make sure we distribute those.
Thank you very much. You beat me to my exit speech, but that's okay. We will send you our upcoming event slide, our property management flyer, and to pressure Senator Myrie, we'll send you our Kevin Parker flyer.
There we go.
One last question. Yeah, I just want a last question. If let's say you have a neighborhood association or a block association, are you available to do the same presentation?
We are willing to present to anyone in Brooklyn that will have us.
More than welcome to present before your association. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much again, Mr. Todman. Mr. McDonald, all right, you've been chomping at the bit. The floor is yours. I know you got some more great stuff for us.
Sure. Yeah. Yes. Just to address Mrs. Boyd's concern. I'm just going to share my screen.
Miss.
I'm sorry.
Don't give me a husband. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
It's Miss. I had enough husbands.
Okay. All right. So yes, there's been some recent changes to the emergency rent relief program. And recently in October, courtesy of the governor and the legislator, they launched the Landlord Rental Assistance Program. It's basically a part of the emergency rental assistance program. The only difference with this and the emergency rental assistance program is that with this program, landlords can actually initiate the application process. And this was done because you have landlords who are in situations where the tenant has abandoned the property, leaving the landlord with arrears, or the situations where, for whatever reason, the tenant is failing to cooperate and actually apply for the rent relief, leaving the landlord stuck. So landlords can now actually apply for rent relief without, the tenant involvement. All right. And yeah, so here's the website. Now, in the situation where the tenant is refusing to cooperate, the landlord must at least document at least 3 times that actually they provide written notice of the rent relief program, informing the tenant of that. And then afterwards, they can then move ahead to apply for the program. All right. So here, I don't know if you want to take a screenshot of the website. Here's the website, Landlord Rent Relief Program. And we definitely help people with that. When we have our workshops, and we're having a workshop next week on the 8th of November with more regarding mortgage and mortgage assistance. We also have a landlord training program, and we definitely promote this program. We help people navigate through this as well.
Could you possibly provide us with the link? Because
sure. Is it? There's a chat here, right? I didn't see a chat.
There is no chat, but that's another problem, and we'll discuss that with Fred.
Yes.
But I'll email it to Let me just close it. I'll definitely email it.
Email it to Dante, and then Dante, if you could be so kind as to provide it with us. See, Fred, this is another reason why we need to have a chat. But go ahead.
Yeah, we need to be able to talk to each other and then not be so public. Why do I want to have my conversation that I want to have with Julia be public or interfere with the meeting? Chats are like regular meetings. I can go up and say hi to somebody and whisper in their ear about you, Fred. I might not want you to know about what I'm talking about you. Thus, chat.
And you're more than free to text on the side. But continuing on, but we will definitely make sure we get that information. But we will make sure we get that information. So Dante will have it. So anybody who wants that, we'll make sure we get that. And we, and like I said, there's no strangers here. It's like Tyrone's definitely a member of the community. He's been here several times, and he comes every time we ask him to. So we're definitely if there's any information that anybody needs, just let us know and we can make sure we make those connections. All right. Okay, just in the interest of time, I want to make sure we're moving the agenda along as well. Are there any other questions? Well, actually, I'm sorry, Tyrone, do you have anything else you want to present as well, or?
Mute.
Oh, you're on mute. Oh, you're muted, Tyrone. You're muted.
Sorry about that. I was that person again. Sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah. That's it for me. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Unless
just
anyone
want to
has
say
any
thank
additional
you as well.
No, listen, thank you. We appreciate you coming. And like I said, we may have you back a few more times. But as always, thank you for all the assistance. Thank you for the fantastic program you're doing, and we'll be in touch definitely.
No problem.
Okay.
Evening,
All right.
everyone.
Have a great evening.
All right. Good evening.
All right. Okay, we are now going to move on in the agenda. So this is more in terms of housekeeping, as this is the first meeting for the Housing Committee for the year. I just wanted to kind of discuss a little bit in terms of roles and expectations from the committee.
Where's the agenda?
The agenda was published on the website and it was sent out to the committee members as well.
So what about the public? I'm the public. I'm attending a meeting. Should I not have an
Website.
agenda? Excuse me? I'm at a meeting. Why am I going to a website?
Right. And I'm discussing, well, first of all, that's how we typically publish our agendas. We put them out, all the committee members get them, and they are made public as well. So it is available on the website if you would like it, but I did just finish talking about what the next item points are going to be on the agenda. We are going to be discussing roles and expectations for the committee. We're going to be beginning the discussion in terms of committee priorities, in terms of what we think are some high-level things that we might want to be addressing this year. And then we'll probably have a little bit of time just in terms of some other items if we would like to as well. But so I think I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, so we are still in the process. I have not selected a chair for the Housing Committee yet, but that is going to be something hopefully that is going to be coming very shortly. But with respect to the committee, I just want to set the expectation in terms of once there is a chair appointed, in short order, we will also be following up. There are going to be roles that we need for people to take on the committee. There will be a chair who is appointed. The chair of the committee is going to be a member of the board who will be serving as the chair. Additional roles, though, there will be a vice chairperson who will be selected from the committee. That vice chair can be a board member or it can be a resident member as well. But that'll be something I think that the committee will have an opportunity to kind of figure out who's interested in serving in that capacity, and they'll do that. Additionally, something that's also going to be very critical, is that we're going to need to make sure that minutes are kept. We have the records of the conversations that we're doing, the records of votes, attendance records are being taken. That's always the fun part in terms of trying to get anybody to volunteer for that portion in any committee. One of the things that we're going to be doing is establishing templates where it hopefully makes it a little bit easier. I want to allay fears in terms of it's not expected that you're giving a word-for-word transcript of what happens at the meetings. It's more in terms of high level, what the talking points were. Specifically though, if there were votes that were taken by the committee, making sure that those are recorded, because that's what's going to go up to the executive committee at the appropriate time, and that's what would go before the board. But I'm just putting it out there in terms of it's a critical role. So if there's anybody, you don't have to commit now, who would be interested in taking on that role, think about that. If you have questions, please feel free to contact either the board office or myself, and we can talk you through that in terms of if you want to take it on a permanent basis, or in some other committees we've seen it where it's a rotating basis, so nobody takes it on for the entire year, where all you'll do is fill out the template for a month and you just change, changes hands, same template, but you do that and we'll just do that. But the main thing being that we're recording everything that happens for, with respect to the meetings. In terms of expectations, again, one of the things that we try to do is, I understand, first of all, I thank everyone who volunteers for this, because typically we have people who are working, families, other neighborhood commitments, you're on block associations, you have memberships in other civic organizations. So truly this is a sacrifice in terms of you giving your time to do this to serve our district. And let me start now, and I will continue to thank you for your service and thinking of our district and making these sacrifices. With that being said, I want to make sure that we also respect those where we try and begin and do things in a prompt and timely fashion. I want to make sure that we also respect the idea, the fact that we're going to, we try and give more than enough notice in terms of these meetings happening, understanding life happens, things come up, but we want to make sure that everybody's respectful in terms of showing up diligently and participating in the meetings as well. So I just wanted to share that with the committee, just to set that up front. Yeah, I think at the committee level, and this has been a conversation, I think that, one of the things that we do as a board is, because the board meetings are a lot tighter in terms of, as a board, we have to come and we hear reports from 10 plus, different committees, plus we have presentations, plus we have applications we're doing, plus other business that we have to do. There's a lot of conversations that we can't do at the board level just because we can't take the time at that level, which is the reason why the committees are so critical. This is where a lot of the things happen. This is where the conversations happen, the discussions, the plans get developed. So really, this is where, the rubber hits the road in terms of a lot of these things are brought up and developed here. They're fleshed out, and you're bringing up plans. So it's not just a matter of, I've got a great idea, here you go, implement. It's a matter of, you kind of go through the process of, this is what it should look like, present those plans, agree on it as a committee. And at that point, we can actuate it through the executive committee and the board as appropriate. But I just want to get everybody in that mindset, in that frame where this is where the conversations are going to happen. This is where there's a little bit more freedom. This is where there's a little bit more time in terms of you're not competing with 8 other committees. This is housing. So this is where the conversations will happen. Presentations, I think, it was fantastic that we had neighborhood housing services here with us today. And we're going to continue to bring in partners as well. I think I've seen neighborhood housing services come and present before us before, and I learned a bunch of new stuff today. And we have a lot of other partners, some of them familiar faces, others who are a little bit new. But I think they have a lot of resources that we want to make sure that we know about as a board, you know about as a committee, and where appropriate, we make sure we try and let the district know as well in terms of what they're providing in terms of being able to assist. The other piece is advocacy. On the one hand, well, 2 things. 2 focuses we have on the board: service, delivery, and advocacy. So this will be the place where people are going to come in terms of how do we develop policy that's going to help and help our district. So if there are things that need to be addressed, this is where we start those conversations. This is where we develop the talking points that when we adopt a position as a board, these are the things we go to our elected partners with in terms of saying CB9 is looking for X, Y, and Z. So from that perspective, this is where it's really critical that this work happens on the committee level. Additionally, services. So if there are things that are not happening, things that need to be happening, or CB9 is not getting its fair share with respect to services being provided, this is where the committee serves as an initial clearinghouse for that as well. With that being said, I don't expect everybody to become a building inspector and you're going out and looking at everything. But here is at least the process where you start vetting some of these things. I'm very happy that we have our district manager here. He's been here for a short time, but has already been very impactful. He and the team, though, are tasked with those service issues, where it's like once we've identified those and kind of fleshed out what the issues are, some things we turn over to them. And they've been very effective in terms of liaising with city agencies as appropriate and getting things done. So I just wanted to lay that out in terms of, the vision in terms of how we're going to be working, or the expectation of how the committee is going to be working through the year. With that being said, there are a lot of things that the committee is just going to decide. I think I just want to set a framework in terms of how you operate, but this committee really has the opportunity in terms of identifying those issues, what the important things are, what the priorities are in terms of how we're going to approach them as well. Dante, if you could, as we go into the next one with committee priorities, there's a document I think we've shared it a couple of times, or a couple of documents we've shared a couple of times when we're asking people to join the committees. If you could put one of them up, just in terms of, I just wanted to plant some seeds in terms of things that the committee might want to consider addressing.
Well, I can't find the agenda. So if you can have a little bit more user-friendly menu that says agenda, because if agenda is a part of committees, when I click on committees, I don't find a link for agendas. So where am I supposed to find the agendas?
Dante,
And it shouldn't be that difficult. Agendas
Ms. Lloyd, go to the calendar, go to today's date.
I did, and I clicked on the calendar and I did not see any agenda.
Did you click on Housing Committee meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, scroll down. You're going to see where there's like two blue squares. Right above it, it says November 2021 Housing Committee agenda.
So how are people supposed to know that it's on the calendar? Intuitively, I would think it would be under committees. But then it's possible that you should just have a tab at the beginning says agendas. And then everybody knows where to find the agendas. Because
okay,
I'm looking all over your website and I can't seem to find it. And most people are not going to even take the time to do all of that.
Right.
I understand.
Well, the district office,
yeah, I completely understand that. And I have mentioned this a couple of times in the general board meetings. We're in the process of creating a new website. And we do have a specific tab that says agendas to make it easier for people to be able to find the agendas when they want to participate in the meeting. So noted. Noted.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right.
I would like to make a suggestion, if I may, in terms of the agenda. At the beginning of the meeting, as we're doing introduction, we could share the agenda on the screen at the beginning of the meeting, and people can take note and see what the points are there.
Or you could have it in the chat, and then people could just click on it and open it up. Wouldn't that be wise and sensible to have it actually at the meeting itself? Just like an in-person meeting, you have the agenda sitting on a table. That's the purpose of chat, so that you can have a link and then people can open it up. I don't understand why you guys don't want a chat. You don't want people chatting.
Well, listen, but right now, just to make sure we're staying on topic with the agenda, we're taking all these points. We'll consider those. We look at that as we evaluate. But just to make sure we're back on track with respect to the agenda. So going back in terms of committee priorities, these are things that, in terms of the research we've done before about typical responsibilities we've seen in our board and other boards as well. So we've seen that they develop plans for the preservation and upgrading community housing stock. So absolutely, I think that's something that we may want to consider. How that gets implemented or the priority, that's something we have to, the committee is going to decide. Identifying needs and strategies for neighborhood improvements. Reviewing vacant buildings in the neighborhood to assess the need for seal up or demolition. Aid in selection of sites for residential facilities for special needs groups. And as I say that, some of these actually get addressed in other committees on the board, but sometimes you will see that there is also sometimes overlap between that as well. So there may be questions that may come up in housing. We may refer them to another committee, or it may be appropriate for the two committees to work in conjunction on certain issues. Identifying funding resources, sources, tackle in there, for major rehabilitation and other services pertinent to housing and special projects. Exactly what we did with neighborhood housing services, or I think they helped us with that as well, in terms of identifying where services exist, what resources are provided. Monitor housing inspection services of Department of Building and Housing Preservation and HPD. Yeah, so I think there's an opportunity there as well in terms of making sure that we're getting data with respect to what does our housing stock look like in the district. Are we getting tons of reports with respect to landlord violations? Are we getting, what's the condition of the buildings that are currently, that we have in the housing stock? Data with respect to, how many 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom apartments we have in the district. Those kinds of things I think are very helpful, especially as we start thinking long range as well, in terms of what are the needs for the district. So because these questions often come up. So that is something where gathering that information, that data gathering, something that might be a critical component of the housing committee as well. With respect to agency organizations that we work with, HPD, DOB, Department of Buildings, Landmark Preservation, DHCR, that's the New York State Division of Housing, landlord and tenant organizations, compiling lists of those, figuring out who's in the district, neighborhood housing services, they were just here, and community-based organizations with housing priorities. I think, which is an important conversation, because I think a lot of the times we see that there are housing lotteries that come up. We had started that work last year under the former chair, Alejandro Caraballo, but having conversations around, listen, it makes no sense to have housing lotteries that most of us don't qualify for. We fall out of the process before, anything else. So if it's about workshops, how do we get people prepared for these things? How do they know what kinds of documentation they need to have? Do they get support through the process where it's not just a matter of, apply for it, and that might be the difficult challenge right there. If it's a matter of we develop or identify resources that help people get through these processes. And these things I put out there for consideration by the committee in terms of as you develop the agenda, what things make sense to attack right now, what things are pressing. Dante, I think there was another document as well, if we could show that.
I see one agency that probably should be on this one, which is the New York City Department of Finance. So I'll make that correction.
Thank you for saying that. No, and I'm happy you mentioned that, because that is something else that's very big. It's always a concern of the board where on an annual basis, we get a list of liens being held on properties in the district. We want to try and make sure that we are able to intervene early and provide assistance to those people, so that way people who have had their houses for 20, 30, 40 years don't lose it because of a tax lien, because of a water bill that's not paid. So we're looking for ways to be able to communicate that, help people, and also find interventions for those who are in distress before it becomes to the point where all of a sudden they're losing their homes that they spent years trying to build. Again, in terms of topics, finding resources to help fight evictions. Tenants' rights. There have been definitely a number of different regulations, laws that have come through New York State in the last couple of years, making sure people are aware of those, what their rights are. Housing lien process, again, sending notices out to the owners in the distribution. That's something we've done in the past, making sure that we're able to expand that. Housing lottery assistance guidance, we just talked about that. And neighborhood housing services, just talked about that. Estate planning. That's one of an area that we're definitely very weak in the district, in terms of, I think we don't have enough conversations, and especially in communities of color, we don't talk about that in terms of, when I pass, you get the house, but what paperwork needs to be in place to make sure that those things happen. And even as we talk about that, sometimes you get the house, but you didn't buy it. It was mom's, it was grandma and granddad's. I got the house clear and free. There was no mortgage, but understanding what goes into maintaining the house, understanding that you still have property taxes you have to pay, understanding you still have water bills, understanding that there are assessments that come that change, on a periodic basis, that change how much your property tax is and everything else. So basically making sure that we are educating our community in terms of not only having a house, but being able to keep it and in the family, and something where you can prosper and then generations can benefit from it as well. So yeah, so I wanted to share those just with respect to, you know, hopefully planting seeds. We are not going to start the process. Typically, we would start the process in the first committee meeting. We're going to defer that, but I at least wanted to share that in terms of for the committee members who are here, starting to think, and I would charge everyone to come back in terms of what you think the top 1 or 2 priorities, well, top 2 to 3 priorities should be. And I think at that point, we can compare notes, and as a committee, we can develop what the actual agenda is going to be for this committee for the year. Because we're starting in November, December, it's going to be a relatively short time frame. I want to make sure that we're focused. I want to make sure we're impactful. So it probably won't be a matter of we're selecting 5 or 6 things to do, but I think we're successful if we can pick 2 or 3 things and do them really well and be impactful in this district, as well as set a plan in terms of an agenda that we're not looking at just this year's committee, but we're looking 3, 4, 5 years down the road in terms of the work that needs to be done in this district. Okay, I have just droned on for a good few minutes. I thank everyone for your patience. At this time, does anybody have any questions, or you know what, better yet, we can open the floor in terms of, does anybody have any thoughts, ideas that they want to share at this time?
I got my hand up.
Yeah, I'm just trying to give people an opportunity. we're gonna address you. One second.
Hi, Fred, I have a question. So where are you
Okay.
going? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Lindsay.
Yes.
Lindsay. Just wanted to, typically the way I try and do it is I just want to be respectful of everybody raising their hand. So I see that you have a question. I'm going to put you on a speaker's list. So I'm going to create a speaker's list and I'll call on you in a minute, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no one else so far, Alicia, we'll start with you, and then Lindsay, we're going to come right to you after that, okay?
Well,
Go ahead, Ms. Boyd, you have the floor.
just based upon the conversation today, it would be nice. I mean, clearly property management is a major issue for a lot of people and how to manage their property. And so why aren't we asking Senator Myrie for some funds to help with that? If we have Neighborhood Housing Association willing to give these things, especially to people who are on limited incomes and might have a house, and who might need to rent out some portion of the house to make ends meet because of their, property taxes going up and property values going up. So I'm not sure if we need to have a long discussion or do a deep analysis, but I don't see why a letter can't be put forward, a motion put on the floor today, and just say, hey, Senator Myrie, are you aware of this program, and will you consider it for your residents as Kevin Parker has considered it for his?
Point taken. And I think to that even more, I don't think I wouldn't even put that as a committee task. I'll commit to that right now. I'll have that conversation in terms of, we understand that from the conversation we have with Neighborhood Housing Services, this is something that's being done, and we would like to see if something like that can be developed for the district. I'll make that commitment right now. That's a conversation I'll have with them. I'll send them a communication.
Okay, and how will we know that you sent it?
Because you can see a copy of the letter when I send it.
Okay, so you'll be
or I'll provide an update. I mean, depending on how I communicate with him, it might just be a phone call. Some of these things are just easy as phone calls, and I can update the committee on that.
Okay.
But I'm
have to
committing to
foil
I'll have
for
that
it?
communication.
You won't make us spoil for it?
Only because you asked. Yes, you have to foil for it now.
Okay.
Everyone else gets it.
Thank you, Julia. Yes. Do we have to foil for it? Woo, woo.
All right. So
okay, good. Thank you,
Sue.
Fred.
Okay.
I appreciate you doing that for us, because it's, this is important.
Absolutely. All right, Lynn Sue, I'm sorry. I know you had a question as well, or a comment you want to make.
Yeah, I apologize for just jumping to my question, but those were priorities that you actually had listed that Dante shared with us. Where would those be posted, or where can we get access to them so we can come back to the next meeting just discussing what we should move forward with?
That was something that was actually distributed as part of the application for the committees. So when we did our push to residents, actually the residents and the board members, we put these out as just so if people had questions as to, well, what does the committee do? You know, we try to, you know, put these out as these are things that our committee has done or other committees have done, just to kind of see where your interests lie. But if you contact Dante, he can forward you that as well, so that way you'll have a copy.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Right. Are there any other questions? Not seeing anyone anymore, but let's just go back for a quick second. I think we have one or two people. Unella, you're on the line? Oh, I think she's connecting right now. Hi, Unella, you there?
Yes.
How's
Yes,
it
I'm
going?
here, Fred. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we just went through we went through most of the agenda, but one of the things we did in the beginning was just introductions very briefly. But since you're a member of the board, would you just introduce yourself as well, just so that way everybody gets to know who's on the committee?
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't see the notice until late and I just got in. But I'm Yanela Roan Perry. I am a member of Community Board 9 for a few years now. And I've been always on the Housing Committee or ULUP. I do have a complex that I manage with our board, Mitchell Co-op, and part of the advisory committee at the Armory, and a lot of other community partners that, you know, we try to work with in getting anything housing related. It's a passion and something that, you know, I try to stay up on as far as that's concerned. I want to say, you know, a good year to us at CB9 moving forward. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to share.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. So just for your benefit as well, and just to recap. So we did our welcome and we did introductions. We had our presentation from Neighborhood Housing Services Brooklyn. So they came and they talked to us about a number of items, including some programs they have, including home ownership promotion, housing preservation, a property management program that they have as well, workshops with regards to home ownership, loan counseling. There's a Home First grant that they're also offering, so we're going to have information on that. We're going to make that available through the board office. Next, we just really basically talked about roles and expectations. In a nutshell, just making sure that we're respecting everyone in terms of the time and the commitment, making sure that we're here, we're present, understanding things happen and come up, but we just need to make sure that people show up so that way we have the quorum and we can conduct the business of the committee. I will be appointing a chair. I'm hoping to appoint a chair in the near future. And as we do that, I also pointed out that we're going to need roles in there in terms of we're going to need support. We're going to need a vice chairperson for the committee, and we're also going to need a secretary of the committee, or it may be a revolving role where people take that off on a month-to-month basis. But we're also going to provide support in terms of there'll be a template for whoever the secretaries are for the committees. Also, just to make sure that it's more consistent across the board in terms of we have the attendance, we have the high-level points, we have the votes, and it's a more consistent feel across the board. Yeah, and so this month, I just really want to plant a few seeds in terms of sharing some thoughts in terms of things that we've done in the past or we've seen in other boards. But next month, I think we want to have a more in-depth conversation. I think we want to kind of solidify the agenda in terms of these are the main points that we are going to address as a housing committee this year. So if there are any questions or any thoughts, definitely, just gather those, and I think that would be the main focus of the December meeting. We have gone through our agenda. Are there any other questions at this time? Yes, Alicia, I see you. Go ahead.
Who are the members of this committee?
The members of the committee are Unella Roan Perry, Augustine Blackwell, Cheryl Wright. We have Shlomo Hecht, Leslie Farrar, Migdalia Rodriguez, Diane Shepard, Desma Ross, and Wendy Thompson.
And do you have quorum right now?
We do have a quorum. We have Ms. Roan Perry, we have Ms. Wright, we have Ms. Farrar, we have Ms. Shepard, and Ms. Thompson is on the line as well.
And will the members of this committee be posted so that I know the next time I come if there's quorum or not? Or do I have to ask each time I show up, who's the members of the committee?
We will, Dante, do we currently have it posted who the members are of each committee right now?
I don't think so. What we try to do and what we have asked board members to do is when they come onto Zoom, change their name and make it known that they're a board member, but it doesn't seem that that is working. So what we can do, if the website permits, we should be able to post the, like where it says board, next to their name, we can put their committee.
Yeah, that's
Right, or
board
even better-
members. What about non?
Right, well, hold on. And I was just gonna say, even better yet, if we can just get a complete roster of the membership of all the committees, so that way there's one central place where you can find out who all the members are. And the idea is the membership will be listed on each of the minutes. So you see who the members are and what the attendance was and who came and who didn't show up for any particular meeting. But we'll see, Dante, we'll talk about it separately and we'll see how logistically we can work that out in terms of getting that posted.
And can I suggest that what Nicholas does on Parks and Recreation is we do a roll call and then you know who's who.
Right, I mean, because of today, since it's much more informal and it
different
wasn't a
for
business
today,
case.
but I'm saying in the regular, you do a roll call, then you know
Right.
if you have it. And then if somebody leaves, then you know that if you've lost quorum or not.
Right, no, absolutely.
Just a
And that's
suggestion.
one of the things. Oh, no, absolutely. And I think that's something we want to do and make sure it's more consistent across all the committees. But thank you for the point though. We are looking into that. Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, seeing none, all right, seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn by Yanela Rome Perry. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Cheryl Wright. All right, moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Well, I can't vote actually. But. Okay, hearing a majority of the committee, we stand adjourned. Time is now 8:16 p.m. Everyone, thank you so much. I appreciate your
Thank you
time,
so
and I'm
much.
really excited about this committee.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good year,
Have a
everybody.
good evening.
You too. Thank you.
Thanksgiving.
Good night, everyone.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.